Hello, I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to another CSGO video. This, of course, being part 3 of our road to the diamond coin. I want to preface by saying, if you guys want to go somewhere else for your pick'ems, feel free to, alright? I wouldn't have much trust in myself either. We make it past the challenger stage. We barely make it past the legend stage. It came down to vitality. Unfortunately, they lose out. Not a huge surprise there. A pretty rough matchup against an NIP that looked very good. But it came down to the very last matchup, that being FaZe Clan and Cloud9, to put us through at exactly 5 points. So if you guys don't trust me, hey Zeus, Thorin, Sean Gares, there's a lot of great pick'ems out there, but if you do trust me, we've had 2 parts so far of this road to the diamond coin. I am, of course, a 2x gold pick'em trophy holder. I don't know why I say that every time. I feel like it establishes some credit for me, but if you guys trust me, this is the final part 3 of our road to the very first ever diamond coin. In order to do so, we need to go perfect from here on out. We need 2 correct quarterfinal picks, 1 semifinal pick, and of course have to predict the grand final correctly. And for that reason and that reason only, guys, you will see no surprises from me today. You know, preface this as well. Historically speaking, there's a precedence when we go to the playoff stage of these majors. Generally, we see a lot less upsets than we do throughout the group stages. Of course, no longer those best of ones, all best of threes, and we hope to see the best of the teams, the best play of these teams can actually present at the major itself. It doesn't always work out that way, but this time around, I think a lot of these matchups are fairly, you know, somewhat one-sided. There are definite favorites in these matchups, and for that reason, you will not see any big upsets from me. So let's get into our playoff pick'ems. Also, congratulations for all you Aussie fans out there. For the first time ever, I'm not going to clap because it comes off in the microphone weird, but still, for the first time ever, an Australian team has now made the legend stage. Renegades going through 3-1, looking pretty dominant, especially establishing their CT sides. Congratulations to those guys, although I might piss off a few of you Aussies in a bit here. But first off, we're going to start off with FaZe and Navi, a kind of a iconic matchup, at least back in the day it was, but now we've seen a very shaky FaZe Clan, guys. Yes, Navi has had their shaky moments as well, but FaZe Clan all the more so, nearly losing to complexity. That series was a back and forth whirl of some pretty bad Counter-Strike, if we would like to say that, and against Cloud9, I'm sure you guys all saw that, almost blowing a 15-4 lead on Cash, an 11-4 lead on Dust, a little bit of a comeback for Cloud9 as well. The FaZe Clan T side certainly worries me, and it certainly worries me if Nico is not popping off. For these guys, I will take Navi in this matchup just for that reason. But again, we could see a FaZe Clan really pop off. I'm glad they made the legend stage. You know, Olaf Meister, 14 majors, 14 playoffs. That's an amazing feat, right? But from what I've seen so far, Navi has to be the chosen victor here. And Liquid and ENCE. I know I'm gonna make a lot of people mad today, but if we're being serious, this is probably the easiest matchup to pick. From what I saw as well from ENCE on their T sides, a little bit, especially against Windstrike early on as well. I'm not too trusting of ENCE. I am super glad these guys have finally made a deeper run into the major, but when it comes to the easy for ENCE run, I think it does end here, unfortunately enough. We saw a Liquid that looks very dominant, very stellar, and I think, like I said before, it should be an easy victory for these guys. It would be a miracle upset if ENCE does pull it off. You know, cross your fingers. I don't really need that pick, so I hope you guys, if you choose ENCE, I hope they actually can make it through the semis for the first time in their history, but Liquid ENCE should be an easy matchup and an easy victory for Liquid. Now, moving on to the matchup that most people out there think is actually pretty worthless because they're in the upper bracket or the top side of the bracket with Astralis, which means in the semifinals they should be an automatic loss. MIBR Renegades, you know, like I said previously as well, when Renegades goes off on their CT side, it means pretty much a win. If they don't, though, it's been pretty tough contesting. Now, they have showed us, though, actually not too much, right? 3-0 challengers, 3-1 legends. They've only lost to Astralis thus far and have not showed off too much. And I think a rough matchup when it comes down to experience. When it comes to picking favorites out here, I think due to experience, you know, MIBR, this core roster has never missed a playoffs, and usually they actually place at least top 4 when it comes to majors. I think experience rules the first time playoff contenders here in Renegades. I'm going to choose MIBR over Renegades, hopefully a map 3 though. Now, very lastly, it comes down to Astralis, guys. Astralis versus NIP. I think NIP got the rough deck of cards here. Honestly, if NIP was facing off against anyone besides Astralis and Liquid, I would probably be favoring them right now. Unfortunately enough, though, due to seedings and who they've actually played prior, they draw Astralis, and I have to give it to Astralis, guys. NIP, their first time making playoffs in 3 years. I mean, a lot of these teams are now coming back for the first time. You know, ENCE, Renegades, and then NIP, the long runs without even being here for a long time. It's pretty crazy, but that also means it should be fairly one-sided. I pick Astralis over NIP It might be close, but I just can't see it. And with that being said, I'm picking Astralis the entire way. Especially if it is Renegades going through, we've already seen them pretty much dominate them in that best of 3. Yes, you sneak away a map. Maybe you go to map 3 like Renegades did in their first meetup. But I think either way, though, Astralis should be the favorite against MIBR. You know, technically still a somewhat newer roster. Yes, they have chemistry. They have history together. Astralis should be favored, though, in all of your brackets to at least go to the final, in my opinion. Along with that, though, I'm going to take the Liquid over Navi matchup. Kind of iconic, almost as iconic as the Liquid Astralis matchup has been. I'm going to favor Liquid, though. They have not looked very shaky to me whatsoever, guys. Very dominant. And like I said in the FaZe Navi matchup, yes, FaZe is super shaky, but we've definitely seen, especially in the past month, a very shaky Navi. You're not exactly sure what you're going to get. Yes, they performed very well at the major, but they've lost to quite a few teams out there this past month, and for that reason and that reason only, I'll be choosing once again, yeah, what a surprise, right? For like the 12th time in the past 12 months, we are now going to see, by my predictions, an Astralis Liquid grand final matchup, and just based off precedence once again, although I will say, right, half the Astralis lineup seems to be sick. It was first Zeus, who was sick pretty much day 1, now we have Glaive, and now we also have Device apparently coming down with the flu. It really comes down to the question, we really don't know, how much do you actually take into effect an illness to affect your gameplay? I'm going to assume you cannot play 100% when you have the flu and a possible eye infection, says Device, which is terrible news for them. Although when it comes down to the actual matchups, right, yes, Liquid has beaten Astralis once in their past 11 or 12 matchups in best of 3s or best of 5s, but when it really comes down to it, you play this matchup in a best of 3 or a best of 5 10 times, Astralis wins it 9 times out of 10. At the end of the day, you guys know I've invested into it. Yes, I have a Do It for NA shirt, but this time around, Astralis wins the major, and they get me a diamond coin. That's my opinion. You guys, of course, can leave your comments down below. As always, my name is Jake. Hey, stay tuned, everybody. We have CSGO giveaways down below for all of you, but more importantly, in a few hours, I should have a huge recap as well as a CSGO news episode. There's been some tremendous things happening in the CSGO news scene. I will share that with all of you guys in just a few hours, so stay tuned on the channel. And also a part of that video, I'll be recapping the entire Legend stage, what we saw so far. Huge surprises, huge upsets, and until next time, I hope to see you guys all back here. My name is Jake. Drink coffee. Bye.